Oh, it's me.
Haven't heard that for a while.
And it's Jerry. How's it going, man?
It's going good, man. How are you, Mr. Adventure?
Not bad. It's been like a month or
I
more.
know.
I don't even know. I'm not trying to
I
look at
thought
the calendar.
we were retired. Salute to the continuation of the show.
For sure. Yeah, this is the longest interruption in the show that I've done in 6 years.
If we wouldn't have did it tonight, I would have had to wait 2 more weeks because I'm going out of town again.
Ooh,
Yeah,
man.
go to Iowa.
Iowa.
All right.
You should be storm chasing.
That could be a thing.
It should be a thing. Hey, what's going on, John? Good to see you on the show.
Oh shoot! Hello, John.
So
Been so long, I forgot I needed a mic.
No, I could hear you. I don't know if you didn't have a mic. I don't know how I was hearing you, but we could hear you. What up? D Money in the house. So, man, I'm not even sure where to begin on what to cover.
Right.
I know.
Well, the elephant in the room, I guess, your trip.
Shit, the elephant in the room. Everybody knew I went on a trip. You told me.
Yeah, but that's the biggest shit that's happened in the last month.
Right, I suppose. But but when I got a hold of you and asked about, some of the things that you'd want to talk about, you were like my mental state. I'm like, all right, I don't know what that means, but that's the big elephant in this room. But I suppose we'll get to that here. We can start off with what I've been up to if you want. I'm kind of more interested in what you were talking about just because.
It's just for me, man. I just been bouncing all over the place, man. I've been shooting so much lately, and I've been shooting everything.
Yeah.
And it's driving me crazy. Like, I don't know. I've been having a blast, man. It's been nonstop, almost every day.
Then don't change it.
I shot 3 times last Sunday. I got up early. I did a portrait shoot. And then I shot some down at the lake towards sunset, and then I did some night shit, some night stuff.
Yeah.
And I shot 3 times that day. I've been having a blast, man.
Nice. Yeah, then I would say don't change it, man. I mean, because the way you just talked about it, it almost sounds like you're like, I don't know, confused by like you're not settling on a thing or something.
Yeah, that's what it is, man. It's hard to focus on. I don't know, dude. I don't know. It's weird.
John's like, focus, Jerry.
It's hard, man. I've been all over the place. My mind's racing.
Yeah. Well, for the longest time, that was me. Like I didn't shoot nowhere near as many people as you, obviously, but like as far as subject matter, like if you look at my earlier stuff on Flickr, you'll see it's everywhere. I shot everything from abandoned buildings to cars to macro to whatever, like everything is fun,
for sure, man. I mean, I've always done that.
Yeah.
But lately, I don't know. I think I was in a slump, and I think I got out of my slump. Because I feel re-energized now, ready to go.
You think that was part of getting out of the slump, was that you just said, screw it, I'm going to shoot everything, whatever catches my fancy?
No, I mean, because I've always done that. You know what I mean? I always got a variety of stuff to show.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I just started. For a while, I wasn't even shooting. I didn't care if I shot. You know?
Yep.
And then I started going out every day, and me and Jared's been going out and
nice,
been having a blast, man.
Yeah, that's the struggle that I think most people run into.
I'm sure everybody goes through that. Yeah,
burnout and slump. The trick is, it's funny. Everybody's like, so hot, I see YouTube videos. There's a million YouTube videos. How to get out of your creative rut. How to get out of your slump.
Right.
Everybody's different.
That's their slump. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We got Jeremy Clark on tonight, just listening. So we better make this an audio friendly show and not just video. I'll put my clothes back on, Jeremy. So Dwayne says, going back to what you love.
Oh, for sure.
And
but I love it all. There's not one thing that The night stuff that I always find when I see the final images,
Yep.
those bring me more joy than everything else.
So I'm gonna throw out this crazy
Um,
word that fits, like polyamory. Like you're capable of being in love with more than one thing in photography.
right, because I mean, I enjoy it all, you know,
Yep, I get it. I always hated the thought of
being pigeonholed to one
yeah,
thing.
yeah. I'm a
Yeah,
landscape photographer.
right.
If you, well, I don't think you've ever been to any presentation, but whenever I do a presentation, I always give an intro about who I am. I say I'm a nature and landscape photographer, but I tell people anything outside of my front door is fair game
Yep,
because
exactly.
I might go out to shoot one thing, but if I see something that's not nature or wildlife, it's just a cool building or a sweet car or whatever, I'm going to shoot it. Why limit yourself?
Right, for sure.
You're crippling creativity.
Yep.
If you do that.
I put the 85 on it. I've been leaving that on there and running around and see what I can. I've been shooting street stuff with the 85.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, it's
It's
a little
whole
more
different look.
difficult. So
Yeah,
I've been having fun with that.
difficult. Like what do you run into difficulty wise using that for street?
Because you have to, your focal length is a lot. You got a lot more reach than say a 35 or a 28 or a 14 or so you kind of have to dial in your subject and make it a little more obvious. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Does that
Yep.
make sense?
No, it does. It's just like with any of the prime lenses, you're completely change how you do everything really. And 85, because it's so long, I think it's probably like a more extreme example of that, because now your distance to subject has increased so much. Like everything has a different look and feel at 85 for sure than it would be at 35.
Yep. I'm just trying something different. I haven't done that in a while, so.
Yep. Yeah, William Eggleston. Good. I don't really know too many names in photography, but I do know William Eggleston's name, and I agree. I think just shooting what you see, and if it's something that connects with you emotionally somehow, I see that in a lot of Jerry's just driving around shots. His nighttime shots of gas stations are just book worthy. He shared a few recently. I'm like, God dang, dude.
Part of me
So
wish
sick.
I would have never deleted my first Instagram account.
The stuff that you shot with a phone, just those things you stumbled upon.
Yeah, like 2012. You know what I mean?
Yep.
My Instagram when I first started, it was because back then you could not upload
From a camera.
from a camera and
Yeah.
it was only iPhone back then. It wasn't even Android then.
Yep.
But that kind of sharpened my skills a little.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Because your phone's always on you, and I was taking a lot of pictures, man, of just everyday stuff.
Man, those photos are living somewhere on a server somewhere.
Oh, I know.
Maybe some buried old iCloud account somewhere.
Right. They were bad, dude. Those photos were bad. that was when I was new into the HDR game.
Oh yeah, stuff like that. And what was that app? I used to love Hipstamatic. That was a fun app back in the day. It had all kinds of crazy, funky filters and frames.
Right.
And
oh yeah, I bet them photos look like trash, dude.
Yeah, I've still got them all, and they do. All mine do for sure.
I can think back to some of the stuff I posted, and I was like, oh, then we're probably bad.
But they were stepping stones.
Right. Exactly. I mean, that's how you get to where you are. You learn not to do that shit again.
Jeremy Clark knows. He knows what's up. That back then it was all the HDR stuff. Yep. Shit, everybody went through that phase. Good Lord.
Yeah. Thanks, Trey Ratcliffe.
Right. It's funny. Trey Ratcliffe shows us this crazy tool that he's got figured out pretty well. And then says, here's the tool. These are the steps. Now go make garbage, because that's what everybody did for like the longest time. Right. And I mean, You even look at some of his first stuff,
Oh yeah, they were
and
bad.
it's dated,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
look at it now and you're like, oh man, I liked that though. I did back in the day. That was my jam. Just like Jinko pants and stuff like that, that you thought it was cool for a minute. You look back and you're like, yeah, what the hell was I thinking?
Right.
Yeah, but I'm hoping, God, I'm really hoping that the style of photography I do now, that 10 years from now, I'm not looking back thinking, dang, what was I thinking? That's awful. You know what I mean? I'm
Yep.
hoping.
And that is one of the reasons why I do not. I take that back. I have a couple presets that I made for what I shoot,
Yep.
but I try to stay away from that trendy stuff
Yeah. Yep.
because for that reason right there. So in 5 years I can't be like, damn, the photos are trash.
Yep. Well, the good thing is if you got a good backup plan, good strategy, you still have all those OG raw files that you can go
Right.
back
I
and
go back and re-edit. Right. Right. Yep.
God, I don't want to do that either. I don't want to come back 10
Yeah.
years from now and be like, it's time to re-edit these.
No, I've been trying to get everything in camera with minor tweaks afterwards and
Yep.
run. Even my model shoots, I'm not doing frequency separation and dodging and burning and all that. And I'm not fixing stray hairs. That's how your hair was. That's how you're getting it.
If
That's
you
how you
wanted to
get
look
it.
better, you should have showed up looking better.
Right. I'm not doing all that extra editing, man.
Jay's roster of models is gonna shrink down to just like one or two who give a crap about how they look when
Right.
they show up.
Right. I wanna like I tell them, yo, I'm shooting you. I'm not shooting something that you're not, you
Right.
know?
Yeah. They want that. They can just throw on a Snapchat filter
Yep.
or
Yep.
something,
Exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy. I get it though. I get it for sure. No. So tell you what, I have a boatload of photos to share.
Oh, I'm sure you.
I mean, I didn't want to bring this many, but I want to share a few that I haven't shared also. So I'll start now because I've got 11 photos to
11
share.
photos? Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, I could have definitely shared more. This has probably been the most productive.
Not as good as this, but
Yeah, I don't know. I've got a 15-year Balvenie sitting here
oh, nice.
that I just opened the bottle on. I've been sitting on that one for a minute. And then I realized I had like less than 10 minutes to start the show. I'm like, shit. And I grabbed a glass off the bar and reached up and I don't even know what I was thinking. I haven't even opened that bottle yet and just grabbed it. I thought, well, I'm committed now.
Should have slammed a couple and then started the show.
Ooh.
Need some of your dad's wine. You'll be back there laying on that couch
Oh
doing
my
the show
God.
from back there.
Yeah, his wine's it's a little ridiculous. Yeah, let me hide the sidebar here on this. There we go. And I will do I'll try to get through these in a, reasonable pace here.
All right. We got 11 photos and we're 13 minutes in, guys.
Right. Like, okay. So these are somewhat I can't even talk. I've one half a scotch and I'm like going to say chronological order here. So this is Multnomah Falls. This is probably one of the most recognizable places that gets photographed in Oregon. And this was Mark. So I went with Mark Miller. For those who don't know, buddy of mine, Mark Miller, and I went to Oregon. This was his idea. We had talked about it on and off for a while, and I kept shooting down Oregon as a destination. I'm so hooked on desert climates for some reason. And
Oregon's lost.
And it was like, I mean, I knew what was there, and it's on my list. It just wasn't priority for me. And it was getting so late in the year, and I hadn't really done like a big photography trip. And, Mark, I got a hold of Mark and said, hey, let's take a trip somewhere. Let's jump on a jet and fly somewhere and shoot. And we were batting around New Mexico and Oregon. And I'll be honest, most all of the trips I've been on for photography, most of them are workshops. And then, a handful of like just pure destination photography trips. And I'm usually the one that organizes everything: flight times, rental cars, hotel stays, itineraries, everything. And I just didn't want to do it. And Mark already had an itinerary laid out for a potential workshop because he and I had talked about doing an Oregon workshop for a while. And Mark said, well, let's do Oregon. And I thought, well, all right, yeah, you've already got everything figured out. I said, if you figure it out, man, I'll go. So he figured out flights. He figured out where we were staying. He took care of everything, rental car. All I had to do was just pay my way and go. So that's what we did. And the first stop on his itinerary after landing in Portland was to jet east over to Multnomah Falls. Him and I had both seen a million photos of it, like so many other people, but we really didn't know what to expect when you get there. So upon arriving there, the parking in the area is like super limited right there. But there is parking up the road, and you can take a trail that gets to it. It's about a half mile, 3/4 mile trail that kind of runs up in the hills a little bit, or you can catch like a trolley or shuttle. Now, the fact that there's a trolley or a shuttle should kind of clue you into the fact that Multnomah Falls, what you don't see in this shot, right next to me is probably like 500 people. And what you don't see in this photo also is that on the bridge, there's probably 50 people. And it's like that probably constantly until you get into the less touristy season. I'm going to say probably getting into like October through March or something like that. It's probably a bit less, visited. But we arrived in Portland, drove the hour and a half, 2 hours east to get to Multnomah, and couldn't find a spot to park. We drove back and forth for a while and then finally decided we were just going to have to park and then hike. And it was like 97 degrees or something like that. And we hiked through the hills, and I'm going to tell everybody the first thing that we did that was fortuitous, or I'm not sure, but so we got there and we come down from the trail, and you kind of get down to this parking lot area, and there were all these people. And then I noticed that there was nobody off to one side. We had to kind of walk behind these cars to get like into like the main area. So we walked behind the cars and get in there, and we turned around and look and realized that we had just completely bypassed some sort of a gate that you're supposed to go through and pay to get in. So me and Mark were like, all right, we're already in. Let's just do this. So we went and shot here. So it's a tough falls to shoot. You definitely need to be wide for sure. So this is shot, you can tell by the aspect ratio. It's shot on the Sony, and it's in portrait orientation, obviously, to get the full height of the fall. And I'm still missing a little bit at the bottom, which really isn't very visible from the observation platform we were standing on anyways. But yeah, this is at 14 millimeters, and this is with the A7R3. And I shot with the R here just because I knew that if I wanted to crop in and start isolating different sections of this, I've got a different crop that I haven't shared yet with anybody that'll probably end up online somewhere. But again, shooting with the R with that 40 plus megapixels is I'm learning to crop after a shot to create a new photo. So that was the whole reason for me shooting, with this camera for this shot. So again, Multnomah Falls, this is the Rokinon 14 millimeter f2.8. And this is I shot no filters almost the whole time, except for a variable ND, so I could adjust how long I wanted my exposure to be. This was obviously, you can see a lot of sunlight here, and I didn't bring any graduateds or anything like that. So in order to get exposure right on this and have it longer exposure, I do a lot of bracketing anyway. So this is a bracketed shot, 3 shots at plus or minus 3 EV. And I think that the longest exposure for the shadow detail on this was probably about 1.5 seconds. So not very long. It was crazy bright. And like I said, about 97 degrees and insanely humid while we were there. Inland, it was 97 and humid. It changed as we changed locations. This next shot, so I'm probably going to get the location wrong on this. I know I am, but I want to say that it was near Mears Lighthouse. We did so much stopping at just random places along the way, but we had visited a lighthouse earlier in the day, and we were driving back and forth trying to figure out how to get to this other lighthouse. And for whatever reason, we could not find the road that went to it. We'll probably have to get a hold of somebody else and see where in the hell we missed our turn at. We just couldn't seem to find it. But and if you follow me on Facebook or friends with me on Facebook, you may have seen a photo that I posted in black and white of a lighthouse kind of shrouded in fog, and you could see the beam of light coming from it. That was the lighthouse we were trying to get. And this house is in the vicinity of that lighthouse. But since we couldn't find the way to get to the lighthouse and we just wanted to get kind of down to the beach, everywhere along the Oregon coast, it seems like you have these sea stacks, these big rock monoliths out in the water. And this house caught our eye from the road, and we decided to kind of race down to this little roadside park to get some shots as the sun was getting low. And I just really, really enjoyed how bright this house was. It was like the whitest thing I think I've ever seen, tucked away back into this dark hillside as the sun was setting. It was just super cool. And you can see from the sky that it's foggy. So I'll talk about that a little bit more, but that is something that you'll find, especially, at least from what I'm understanding, this time of year, along the Oregon coast. You've got this marine layer. It's this fog that just is persistently living offshore. It's insane. It's almost never not there. And this is literally just a random beach. I mean, I think I actually titled it Mark Random Beach because it was just one of those random stops. I don't even know where we were. We were in between towns, but we were told by a friend of ours, Rob Shipman, that you could just pull off anywhere and it's crazy cool scenery to shoot. So we did a lot of that too. You know, we hit obviously popular spots like Bandon Beach and Secret Beach and all these other places, Cannon Beach. But in between all of that, there's a million roadside parks you can just pull off and go shoot that all have cool stuff. So one of the things that I always do if I'm out with photographer friends, I'm always shooting them as well as shooting the scenery. I think I've mentioned it on the show before. It's always fun to give your friends some cool shots of them, some behind the scenes stuff. And Mark was just walking down the beach. Not sure if he was setting up to do anything in particular in this, but I just liked the way we had this mist rolling in and just took advantage of that. So just kind of quick shot of him walking down the beach here, random beach. The next shot is, oh my gosh, I am so horrible with names of locations. I should have written all of this down, but this was a spot that Mark and I had wanted to visit, based purely on stuff we had seen online. In the fall and in the winter months, the rock outcropping that's to the left of the frame, massive waves will surge in and hit that and literally crash over the top of that towards the right-hand side outcropping where I'm standing. So that's me standing on that outcropping there. But the waves will be 50 to 60 foot tall, and it'll almost look like they're crashing on top of the person that's standing there, but actually they'll be crashing kind of further behind that person out of frame. It's a really cool illusion. So we had visited this state park, which I'll try to put it in the show notes because the name is just drawing a blank right now for some reason. But we wanted to go there. It was really rough surf everywhere that we had been so far that day, like big waves, you know. Well, I'm from Michigan, so big waves are like 10, 15 foot waves. Apparently out there, that's, you know, choppy surf, I guess. But we went there expecting maybe a little more drama, and instead we got there and it was just insanely thick marine layer fog that was coming in off of the ocean. So we were stuck with really challenging conditions, and that's where I felt that doing a lot of conversion to black and white, I think, just kind of lent itself well to that moody atmosphere that we were getting. So Mark and I took turns running back and forth to that spot and shooting photos of each other. This one is shot with, again, this is with the A7R3, and this is the Tamron 28 to 75. And I should have pulled up EXIF. Let me see if I can pull up the EXIF. I'm going to guess this is zoomed in. Let's see. Yeah, this is at 75 millimeter, and I still look, you know, that small in the frame. So it gives you a sense of the scale there. I've got another photo again. If you're friends with me on Facebook, you'll have seen the other image, and it's a portrait or a landscape orientation. I think it shows the sense of scale even better. But that's one of the things I was kind of shocked with Oregon, is that everything was so much bigger than I had anticipated, kind of the way it was in Arches National Park. The stone formations are just so much larger than photos allow you to see unless you put a person in them. So like I said, Mark and I took turns running back and forth and shooting photos of each other. So this is a photograph by Mark Miller that I processed and cropped to this final image here. And something that I had wanted to do really badly was get into the woods, hopefully in the morning or in the evening as the fog was rolling in, so we could get those cool, like rays of light coming through the trees, because everything is just blanketed in thick moss and it's just amazingly gorgeous. So Mark and I got up early one morning and drove down to Brookings, which is, you could probably throw a rock and hit California from Brookings. I mean, it's so close to the California border, but it happens to be home of the 2 stands of redwoods that happen to be the furthest north that redwoods grow. And that was, again, on our list of things to go see, were the redwoods. So this is in this state park. It's like Redwoods State Park, or Redwoods, Oregon Redwoods Trail, or something like that. Again, if you're curious about any of these locations, just get with me after the show. I can give you the exact name of them. But we were there early enough in the morning to where we had really cool light, but we didn't have any of that sweet atmosphere like I was hoping, because this was actually on the backside of this mountain. So it wasn't facing in the direction where all of the moisture was coming from. So we really didn't get any of that, but it was still fun to play with the warm light as it was kind of blasting through the trees. It took a while to get that light to come up. By the time this light was hitting, it was probably 11 o'clock in the morning, getting close to noon. But because it was obscured behind I'm going to call it a mountain, it's a really, really large hill. All the light was still low enough to where it just kept everything really yellow and orangey. And this was me just trying to figure out the best way to shoot in a tight forest setting. So I started picking out little vignettes like this. This is actually shot with the A7 III and Tamron's 75 to 180, or yes, 70 to 185, 70 to 180, 70 to 180. That's what it is. I knew that I wanted to isolate with a long focal length to just kind of compress that background. So this is shot at 180 millimeters. Again, one of the redwoods there. So again, this is from that same park, and this is a selfie. So that's kind of one of the benefits, I guess, of carrying a couple of cameras with me the whole time. I had the A7 III sitting on my tripod with the 14 millimeter f2.8, and the camera, obviously you can tell it's pointed damn near straight up in order to even fit the tree in the frame. These trees were just, well, it's my first time seeing redwoods. It was pretty damn cool. I think that the trees there were pushing the like 270 foot mark or something like that. Right around there. I know that they get up to like 325 feet, probably the ones in California. So these aren't quite as tall as those, but it was a pretty powerful experience to see trees like that. So I took advantage of an ultra wide, and I did a lot of selfies there. Just, you need something in the photo to show scale. So was happy to jump in front of the camera for those. They make fun profile pictures. So again, Sony A7 III, Samyang 14 millimeter f2.8. And this is probably shot at like f11 or f16, something like that. Just, I wanted lots of depth. I wanted as much of the tree in focus as I could get. So and this is one that I've shared. A few of those I had shared, and this is one of the ones that I shared as well. It did really good on Flickr. It hit their explore page over there. But this is Secret Beach. It's funny, I titled this one Pandora because I had heard from a couple of different people actually that when James Cameron was doing Avatar, he took inspiration from a couple of locations around the world, and also this place here in Oregon, you know, for the world of Pandora with the floating islands. There's some places in China and I think in Thailand, and then also the Oregon coast, specifically shots from this area were a little inspirational for his development of Pandora. So This was one of the locations that Mark wanted to get us to for sure. That was on his itinerary. There was another one we didn't make it to, and I'll be honest, after the day of hiking this stuff, I was dead, and I did not know if I was going to be able to make it to the other one. And with this kind of fog, it wouldn't have been worth it to probably hit the other spot, honestly, anyways. But for someplace named Secret Beach, you can see in the lower left side of the frame all the footprints down there on the beach. This is not a secret. It's not the easiest hike ever. It's fairly steep, not real long, maybe like a eighth of a mile, but it's pretty steep, pretty rugged. It'd be a liability on a workshop. You'd want people signing waivers before you do this, but it was super cool spot. And this is shot with the Sony A7 III, and this is with the Tamron 17-28. And I've got, again, a variable ND on there just so I could slow down my exposure there a little bit, my shutter speed to smooth out the water just a little bit. The watercolor there was gorgeous in this location. We didn't have a lot of really cool color water really anywhere else on the trip. So it was kind of cool to see something that looked like, maybe we'd see at Point Betsy here in Michigan. So this is Bandon Beach, and this is our last day there. And this is generally how sunsets go. If you look kind of into the distance there, just above the rocks, you can see that really thick, heavy layer of cloud. That's the marine layer. It sits offshore, and then every evening, like clockwork, as the sun gets lower, that marine layer moves in, and it just obscures everything. But we completely lucked out with the timing of it. As it's approaching, it's pushing all of this mist and fog forward, and it didn't obscure the sun at this point. So we got these really cool rays that were kind of beaming through the rocks. And yeah, it was just, I don't know, watching the light do this. I mean, I spent more time not pushing the shutter button than I did, pushing it. I spent so much time just staring at it with my mouth open. I mean, geez, I could taste salt for like the next day because my mouth was sitting open for so long, just in awe of how this looked. Again, so this was Bandon Beach, and this is shot, again, with a longer lens. So I'm quite a ways away. This is the Tamron 70-180, and just zoomed right in there just to kind of pull that in tight. Yeah, it was cool, but it was heartbreaking at the same time because we really had like 15 minutes of light like this, maybe 20, and then we had nothing but fog and mist, and it was miserable once the sun got behind that marine layer. Again, same evening. This is, I know I didn't share this one, I'm pretty sure. We were done. The sun was about to where we were completely losing it, and we started to kind of walk our way back towards the way up out of the beach. And there was this, I don't know, just a spot where the previous tide had filled in and kind of made this little reflecting pool. So we were starting to walk out, and I'm a sucker for these pools, like mud puddles or whatever, and reflection shots. So I hurried up and pulled my camera back out and just knelt down in the water and got my camera right down to the edge of the water. And this girl was out here taking a selfie. At the end of the day, I don't know what was behind her shot, but I think she should have turned and kind of faced towards me, and she might have had a little bit better background in the shot. But anyways, it was really cool just to kind of, again, put a person in the shot, because that's not really something that I do a lot of. But again, I felt like so much of the stuff that I saw out there benefited from it, would benefit or did benefit from having people, in the shots. So I guess I can go on to the lightning. I'll just hurry up and end the stuff. So non-Oregon stuff. Again, this is the whole thing we were talking about, jumping from subject to subject to subject. I went out to dinner last week with my girlfriend, Shelly, and we kind of met sort of halfway between her and I, about an hour from my house, 45 minutes from my house, west of my house. And we had dinner, and we kind of parted ways, and it was, evening. So it was like 7:00, something like that. And on the drive home, I'm listening to a podcast, and I knew that there was stormy weather that was hitting the lake shore, and I had already gone earlier in the week and stayed there until like 2 a.m. trying to get shots, and just got basically blown off the pier with no photos. So I was kind of discouraged from heading back to the west side of the state, and decided to check the radar anyways, just to see if there might be a chance that stuff might make it to me. And I noticed that there was a pretty intense line of storms that was going to march across, straight across the state and north of where I live, but about an hour north of where I live. But I knew that north of me is this little town called Ithaca, and there are all these big wind turbines up there. And I've been up there once or twice to shoot Milky Way, and I always wanted to do something with these turbines in a shot. And I tried Milky Way, and it just didn't work out both the times I was up there to do that. And I thought, damn, these might be kind of cool if the storms make it in, if I can stay dry long enough to get shots. So looking at the radar, I noticed that there wasn't a lot of rain preceding the storms. You know, it was very, very dry on the front edge as they were moving in. So I just said, screw it. I seem to always travel with cameras with me. So I actually had an Olympus, because I had considered maybe chasing storms at one point. So I had my Olympus with me, and I had my Sony with me, and just threw caution to the wind and drove like about an hour and a half to get up here to this spot. And I was up there for about 30 minutes before the storm started rolling. I had just enough time to get set up, find my windmill location that I wanted, set up, and watch the sunset, and then watch the storms come in. So this is a shot with the OMD EM1X and the 12-100. This is a live composite shot, and this shot is probably like a 10-minute shot, maybe 15-minute shot. You can see the sunset going on over to the right. That was when I started the exposure, and then it kept going on until it was fairly dark before the lightning started cracking off. And there's probably like 3 different lightning strikes, or 4 different ones in this shot. The one that kind of comes towards camera above, that was when I decided I've had enough. It's time to hit the road and get the hell out of here, because that one was like right above my head. As soon as it flashed, I heard the thunder, and I knew that it was time to roll. So again, live composite shot here. It's like the cheating mode for lightning. And then I think this is probably my last shot. This is a Sony shot here. Just set up. I was driving home. I told myself I was done, and it just kept going and going and going. And I thought, well, okay, I'm going to pull over and do one more. It just sucks. I was trying to get a self-portrait. I'm in the shot, kind of in the background there towards the back of the car. You just can't see me. I wish I would have had a way to pop a flash on myself and do a lightning selfie, but I just wanted to see if I could get a good lightning shot with the Sony as well. So this is the Sony, and this is with the Tamron, or the Samyang 14mm f2.8. It's kind of cropped to get rid of the oh wait, no, I'm sorry. This isn't an Olympus photo. I didn't share my Sony shot. Sorry about that. So this is a live composite. Again, with the EM1X and the 12-100, because that was the lens combo I had with me. I ran a time lapse with the Sony and have a few Sony shots. I just don't think I've got any to share. Yeah. So that's kind of what I've been up to for like the last, I don't know, 3 weeks or something like that. Yeah, I've been busy. I've been busy all over the place.
I can't believe I missed those storms, dude.
Hey, what's going on? It's Sharky James in the chat. Good to
My
see
cousin.
you. But yeah, so after the Oregon trip, it's funny. I think I've had 4 inquiries now as to when the workshop is next year. So I probably shouldn't have spouted off that we were scouting for locations for a workshop if I wasn't 100% certain we were committed to doing a workshop, but I think we're going to. And haven't discussed a firm date or anything with Mark, but it'll probably be late fall, probably getting into the late October, November area time frame. Just because from what we've read and been told by locals that the marine layer isn't quite as bad during that time of year. And so we'll actually get the potential for sunsets. And that one area that I showed you, that state park, Shore Acres, that's what it's called, Shore Acres State Park, with the big rock outcroppings. Your chances for getting those giant wild looking waves crashing over that again are going to be kind of early winter shots or winter shots. So if we do one, folks, keep your eye out on social medias, and it'll probably get announced later this year. It'll definitely be early enough to give people time to plan and prepare for that workshop. It will, I'll just give a little warning now, it will not be one of those you drive up to a spot, park, step outside of the vehicle, and take a photo adventures. It's going to be one of those get out of the car, make sure your boot laces are tied tight. And we're going to be hitting probably rugged terrain. I was pretty whipped after some of the hikes that Mark and I had done. So it'll not be for the frail or faint of heart for sure. So there's your advance notice of that.
Cool. So maybe I will share some pictures now, Jamie.
It's your turn.
If I remember how to do this. Oh, they changed it.
Did they?
Yep.
Or it's just been way too long.
No, there must have been an update or something.
Yeah, they did change a few things with StreamYard. So here we go. She got clothes on in that photo.
They all do, sir.
Okay. That thumbnail. Okay. It matches her outfit, matches her skin tone pretty good.
Right. So this is Ivy. This is the first time I shot with her, actually. And usually when you shoot with somebody brand new, everybody's a little uncomfortable, and dude, she does not take she didn't take a bad picture the whole day. I was like, yo, this is pretty cool. So this is shot with the Sony A7R2 with the Tamron 28-75, and this is at 75 mils. Like I said, a little bit of light editing done to it, just to remove maybe a few blemishes here or there, and not a whole lot more. Oops. So then we move on to my favorite, Coast Guard. You didn't make it to Coast Guard this year, did you?
No, it was
Where were you at?
I don't know where I was at during Coast Guard Festival. I was in Michigan though.
I made it out one night, and this was the only shot I got before they turned off all the lights, and they shut it all down early.
Good timing.
So I got one shot, and this was it. So this was Coast Guard. This is same camera, same lens. This is probably about a 1 second exposure, maybe. Maybe a little quicker, but handheld. Kayla. This was shot at where'd we shoot these? Cruise Park, Muskegon. The Sony A7R2 28 Tamron 28-75. This is probably 50 mils, maybe. I'd have to look at the metadata, and then once again, this is just pretty much straight out of camera, not much editing. I think I removed a few pimples off her face, and I didn't touch up hair or eyes or anything. I just pretty much left it the way it was.
It's crazy. For so long, you were always bringing off-camera lighting, reflectors.
Oh, right.
Like,
yeah,
it's got to be nice to travel light and do these.
It is, dude. It is. This is, what is the name of that park? Lake Harbor Park in Muskegon. There's just a house on the other side of the channel, and I shot through some trees. This is the 70-200 f4, the Sony, and this is racked all the way out to 200. And I just shot through some trees. I shoot that A-frame house all the time. It looks really cool. I got a winter shot of it that I really like. And as you know, there's not many A-frames around here, so I enjoy this.
The owner, you should get a hold of the owner and give him a print.
Right. No, it's part of the cult over there, man. You can't go on that side of the river, man.
What's the cult?
There's a freaking cult over there, man. It's like Jim Jones shit going on over there, man.
I just don't drink any Kool-Aid if they give it to you.
Right. Same part. I like the grass in the foreground on this one. I thought I was going to get a little more shine than I did. But I did not. So this is racked all the way out to 200, and I was gonna remove those bolts, and I forgot to do that. But this tree sits out there, and I always take pictures of this tree 2 different times of the year. But I enjoy this shot right here. And Jess, the homie Jessica, she wanted to do a swimsuit shoot with the bite. So we went to, you know where the racetrack used to be over here? Did I ever take you to that abandoned hotel that's back there?
No.
So there's an abandoned hotel where the jockeys used to stay. The racetrack's gone now, but the hotel's still there. And I guess people were trying to set up apartments in there and stuff. Anyway, it's Indian property. You're not supposed to be in there. We're back there shooting out on the other side of the fence, and the cops show up. So here comes Jez, and at this time she didn't have the shorts on. So then here I come with a camera, and here she comes in her bikini, and we're trespassing. And then the cop's like, "What's going on?" And she's embarrassed as hell. And she, but that was pretty funny. We're like, we're just doing a shoot, man. It was like, all right, you guys do what you got to do and get out of here. And then I believe this is my last shot. This is Pierre Marquette. This is, as much as I don't like shooting the orange ball.
Yeah.
I hadn't shot at the beach in a while, so I was like, let me go down there. So I got down there. Right as the sun was setting, I was like, just let me grab the silhouette shot. So I laid on the ground and shot across the water. This is A7R2, 70 to 200, racked all the way out to 200. And I'm pretty much level with the water on this shot. So I can make sure it's in the foreground.
Nice.
And that's one more. I liked it. This is probably my favorite picture of the week, man.
Yeah.
So the guy was actually standing there by himself, and I couldn't get focused on the moon, and it kept blowing out. So I was like, shoot. So then the lady came up, and at one point they were holding hands, and I couldn't get the shot, but I ended up getting them both together right here. And I thought this was pretty cool. There's a lot of open space in the middle.
Nope, I think it works
which I like.
perfect.
Yeah,
Yep.
right. And I mean, them being at the bottom and the moon being at the top kind of adds balance to the photo.
Nope, that's sweet.
So,
I love like an extreme composition.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Mix it up a little
sliver
bit.
of horizon or
Right.
whatever. It's cool.
Right. Yeah, I mean, rules are meant to be broken, right?
Constantly.
I thought I just exited the freaking.
So I have a incident that happened in Oregon. So let me just say this much. We had a lot of series of fortunate events and then one unfortunate event.
Did it happen in that room with the heart-shaped tub?
Hell no. No. So, okay, let's start off with how things started. So Mark and I, our flight was supposed to leave from Detroit. We were going to fly in United from Detroit to Chicago, O'Hare, and then from there to Portland. Oh my gosh, my dogs. So we were supposed to fly United 6 a.m. 6 a.m. departure. And in order to make a 6 a.m. departure, we'd have had to leave, here. We'd have been on the road, like crazy early. I'd have been up at like 3:30 or something. And we knew we'd hit the ground running once we got to Oregon. So I told Marcus, let's just do a park, sleep, and fly, like one of those hotels right near the airport. You can park your car there for the duration of your trip, whatever. So Mark's like, yep, cool idea. Mark wanted to save $1, so booked us, I'm going to use air quotes, accommodations at a hotel. And we get there and go up to the room, and it's legit like a crack hotel honeymoon suite with like 1970s turquoise tile jacuzzi tub in the middle of the room. Like, it was nasty. So
you should have went downstairs and found you a model and brought her up there and did a photo shoot.
Dude, okay, for one thing, the models you would shoot there,
ain't nothing wrong with smoking crack.
You'd have to pay an 8 balls, and no, it wouldn't be happening. So so anyways, Mark took one look at the room and said, no. I said, good, because I'm not trying to sleep next to you in a honeymoon suite. It's not happening. So He went downstairs, booked us another room at down the road at Howard Johnson. Really not any better. My bed had like a dip so deep in one side of the mattress, I stuffed my pillow in it so that I wouldn't fall into the hole. So it started off kind of dicey. And then we get to the airport and our 6 a.m. flight, the pilots were coming in late. And they were coming in late and they were going to have to wait before they could fly again because they've got so much time that they can fly and then they have to have so much time for rest, which I'm good with that. I don't want a sleepy pilot. When we got there, we found out that they were going to be delayed because they needed more rest before coming to our airport. We wouldn't make our connection in Chicago. So we talked to the person at the United counter, and she moved us to a new flight, which happened to be on Delta. Yay, because I'm a Delta flyer. And Delta. We didn't realize it till we get to the Delta terminal. We open up our app. Normally I fly Coach or Comfort Plus. I don't fly first or business. I open up my app and normally there's like a little blue screen with my barcode, my boarding pass. And I opened up my app and it was red. And I said to Mark, I said, hey, did they update the app? My thing's red. And Mark looked at it and he goes, shit. He goes, I think we're first class. Look at your seat assignment. And I'm like, damn, I think we are. So the United attendant or whatever booked us on first class. We thought it was just first class going from Detroit to Minneapolis because that was our new route, Detroit to Minneapolis to Portland. So we did that leg. And then when the next leg becomes available on the app, we see it's still first class from Minneapolis to Portland. I'm like, damn, this is cool. So first class from Minneapolis to Portland was nice because we had our own pods that you could lay down and sleep. So we legit like laid down flat and slept. So that was our unfortunate event that became a fortunate event. So that was cool. Then we ended up with an unfortunate event later. We were at Thor's Well, which I didn't share any photos from there because I don't have anything spectacular from that spot. But we were at Thor's Well and it was insanely windy. Like I seen people almost falling down. They were getting hit with the wind so hard. And a couple of times I thought I was going over. And at some point during all of this, or so far throughout the trip, Mark's tripod, the ball head had loosened up. Like the entire ball head had worked its way loose. And Mark said that he went to move and the entire ball head with camera on it fell off his tripod onto the rocks. And I have no idea how high his camera fell, but it hit the rocks and got a little wet. And he had very little damage visible on the camera. His exposure compensation dial was a little funky. Like it'd be on 0, but it'd say it was like plus, 1, but the exposure would still be 0. But it just would show on his screen that it thought the dial was at +1 or whatever. It was acting funky, but it got worse when we realized that all of a sudden it was throwing up these crazy error messages and we couldn't figure it out. And we were at, it might've been Cannon Beach. And Mark couldn't take it anymore. He went back up to the car and he was sitting down. He was trying to Google to figure out things he could do to get past this error message that kept popping up, and found out that somebody had said, and they'd had the same situation with salt water. And what it is on the Sony cameras, unlike the Olympus cameras, when you take the hot shoe cover off, you have those little contact points on the flat metal plate in your hot shoe. Well, the Sony only has like one. And then tucked up inside of there, there's all these little tiny connectors. Well, those little tiny connectors literally got like 1 drop of salt water on them and it corroded them within minutes. And so it shorted out those connectors. So his camera constantly thought there was something connected to it constantly. And he had his hot shoe cover on the whole time, but somehow it literally just a little tiny droplet of water got in there and jacked his whole camera up. So we ended up getting back to like the hotel room, and I had him take the blow dryer in the room and turn it on and blow it at the hot shoe and weight it down with blankets and shoes and whatever to hold it in place until it dried it. And then he took I always carry a knife. So he took my knife and scraped all the corrosion off the contacts as best as he could. And it would work great until it got super humid, which unfortunately, every time you get down to the beach, after about 20 minutes or so, there's so much humidity in the air, his camera would start flaking out again. So that was our unfortunate event, I guess, to end the whole trip. And it wasn't for me. I mean, I had 2 camera bodies. So I told Mark if he needs another body, he could use one of mine. But he dealt with it and worked with his the rest of the time with that trip. But again, just testament, I think, to the Olympus weather sealing and maybe the designs. I think it's crazy how like sensitive the hot shoe connections are on that Sony, like as far as like how tightly packed together those contact points are, that it just takes a single little tiny drop of water getting in there and
That's
it
weird
jacks
that
the whole
happened
thing up.
because I've shot mine in the rain and I've never had that happen.
Just
And I don't keep that plastic thing on mine either. I throw that shit away.
so I wonder if the older Sonys don't have the same connection points then.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I've never had that issue. I've shot mine in the rain.
But it was literally just this tiny droplet of water. And you can see on the hot shoe connection points that it was just a little tiny bit of water just in like this one area. And it just, I mean, he can use the camera. The camera still worked. It's just, it would constantly flash this message talking about like a error with a connected device or something like that. So
I wonder if something's got screwy inside when it hit the ground.
I don't think so, because everything else worked good. Mark didn't have any problems with focus or nothing. His exposure compensation, I have to get with him like sometime this week and find out how that ever ended up. But that's kind of the side of the camera that hit the ground. So he figured that the issues with the exposure compensation were with that dial maybe hitting the ground and getting jacked up. But I could have swore that he told me at the end of the trip, after it had been dry for quite a while, that it was starting to work fine again. So, but yeah, just again, kudos to Olympus weather sealing. Holy shit. Like I've been out in the most insane stuff. Mark got a drop of water on his Sony and it was like lights out. I'm done. It really freaked me out. It made me so paranoid the rest of the trip about like,
yeah, dude, that's a fluke, dude. I've never seen that happen.
And he dropped it in the rocks.
Right.
So
right.
I mean,
I'm thinking something inside got whacked.
Yeah, it's different, I suppose, than having water spray on it, but still, just man, it gave me that nasty, uneasy feeling.
Next time it rains, we'll go out. I'll take my Sony out, and I will show you that you can get them wet.
Yeah, look at your hot shoe connection. Like if you pull the hot shoe cover off, look up inside of there in the front, and see if yours has those connections. I don't know if it's a newer thing.
I think it does. No, I think they're in there.
Yeah. Anyways, it was a bummer. I know Mark was stressing out, although he was saying also that he was potentially using it as a excuse to talk to his wife about the A7 IV. So, no, not R4, 4.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm waiting for.
So I guess that's all I have to talk about on this show. Hey, I do want to give like a huge thanks to this guy right here. To John
Thomas.
So John, I did a couple of presentations the other week in Muskegon, and John and his wife Kathy, they come to every event I do, and they are the sweetest people I think I know, and it just it makes my day every time I see those two. They're such an awesome couple.
I always expect them to show up whenever we do something.
Yep, and they're the best. So I'm gonna say, find those guys on social media and give them a follow. John's a great photographer and super, super kind guy. And I know if you had questions or anything like that, he's the kind of guy that would just go out of his way to help you. He's just that kind of person. So I just wanted to say thanks, John. I don't know if you're still on watching or not, but thank you for being such a cool guy and a good friend. I really appreciate that. So it's been an hour, dude. I'm about ready to cut out. There's my 2-knuckle crack. I'm going to chill out for a little bit and end my work week tomorrow and hopefully get out and do some shooting.
Yes, sir.
That was my long outro. If you want more to
add. Yeah, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks or 2 months or who knows. We'll be back though.
All right. Take care, you guys. Thanks for tuning in.